Hello and welcome to Take Flight Live with Phoenix Stage Company, an award-winning 100% volunteer community theater organization located in Oakville, Connecticut. I'm Ed Bassett, Executive Director of Phoenix Stage Company and your host, here with Tim Phillips. Say hello, Tim.
Hello.
We're also welcoming our studio audience. We have two people, and of course, Michael Calabrese, our technical producer, is in the house,
Yes.
and Al is here somewhere carting around my beverage for the evening.
I think you need your beverage right off the bat. It's good to be back.
It is good. Well,
I've been away. Oh, wait, here comes your
beverage.
beverage now. So,
I'm thirsty. Yeah, bring it in, Al.
in fact, while you do that, I
Because
will crack open mine.
We are social distancing, so there we go. Yeah, you were gone last week. It was our 10th anniversary episode. You did sneak in.
I did a
Say
little
hello.
sneak in, yes.
You did a little sneak in. The week before that,
Then we had an issue.
and
we couldn't be there. So it's been 3 weeks since I poured a beer on stage like this.
it is.
So,
And
I'm having a Cool's, which is a Black Hog Cool's.
yeah. And you are also, what is that on the table next to you there?
This
next to your
is
Cool's?
a glazed donut from Brooklyn Bakery in Waterbury. They're not a sponsor, but we wish they would be, because our friend Chanel is here, and Chanel knows that we love our Brooklyn Bakery donuts. They have the most amazing glazed donuts, and she brought.
Yeah, there's an apple-filled one out there.
She brought 2 dozen for.
I know. I've had 3 of them. I'm gonna go into a sugar coma. Don't tell my doctor I had 3.
We need to do our thing.
Yeah. Oh yes. I'm sorry. We do have to do that here.
So I'm out of practice, so
yeah.
What do we got?
Wow, 6 feet 3 inches.
Wow, we're a little more than
that's
usual.
good.
Okay,
That's good.
So we are one. That's. Oh yeah, right. See, I'm out of practice here.
6 feet 3 inches.
6 foot 3 inches is just a little more than 1/40th of a furlong. That's for all our Kentucky Derby fans out there.
A furlong.
A furlong. Yep.
Wow.
See?
Yeah.
You learn something new every show.
Yeah.
So the Kentucky Derby, as you know, is tomorrow? Saturday.
It's Saturday.
And we looked up the names, and there's some names, and some of us among us picked one of the favorites without even looking at the odds.
Yes.
We just looked at the names and
Yes.
found the favorite. And then you guys picked the 85-1 special.
That means we're gonna be rich.
We're gonna be rich. So
yeah, we'll be rich.
But you know how that goes.
Yes.
So how was your week?
Oh man, my week this was a hard week for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough week. It's just we have those.
Yes.
We
they
have
just
those.
seem to be. I should say, I want to point this out. We are now in September. September, and you know what that means? That means we are 2/3 through this crappy year.
I find myself like I'm at home or I'm here, and I'm trying to figure out ways to get us through this, ways to get Phoenix Stage Company through this situation that we're in, the pandemic and all of that stuff. And it's difficult because this is totally beyond our control.
Right.
It's no one's fault directly here. And so it is really frustrating to sit here and feel so tied up. Like there's nothing we can do.
I've listened to a bunch of podcasts. And one of them that I listened to is called the Box Office Podcast. It's about movie theaters and the movie theater industry. And they're just finally happy because at long last, the movie theaters are starting to reopen. And new releases are starting to come out. Tenet, I think, is the big movie coming out pretty soon. And movie theaters have had as much time as we've had to make the changes necessary to have audiences come in and be socially distant, and like you could order your tickets online now, you can order your food online, you just pick it up. So they have that luxury.
Well, and they have a multi-million-dollar industry that supports them to do that, right? We're here, I'm sitting in the office, searching things online. Is the phone, my bat phone gonna ring and it's gonna be the governor's office saying you can open now?
Right.
Are we gonna get something in the mail? Like we don't know how this is gonna be lifted for us to be able to move forward. So it's just really frustrating because we have no information. So when our supporters and our actors ask us, I have no answers right now.
And it's
so
the same. It's the
really
same for
difficult.
all Connecticut. It's the same across the country as far as community theater goes. It's the same across the country as far as professional theater goes.
Absolutely true.
So it's the performing arts, and I hate to say, but that is the entire performing arts industry, if you will, is suffering from this, and it's going to be a long time to recover. Hopefully, everybody can come back. I'm 100% performing arts will come back at some point.
Sure, it will.
We're always going to be storytellers.
I had a phone meeting today with a representative from a platform that does this, that does virtual performances, streaming performances, and when the time comes that we can have audience, we can do both at the same time.
Right.
If we have a license to stream the show, then you can buy a ticket to either come to the theater and watch the show, or you can buy a virtual ticket to stay home and watch the show.
That might be the model of the future.
It could be. It could be. And so I'm learning more about those platforms and what the requirements are for us. And I think that's a way for us to go. We're working on some very exciting possibilities for October, for the Halloween season.
You want to do your haunted face?
Oh yeah, my haunted face. So I'll show you stuff. Hold on.
We found this out during our pre-show.
Yeah, we did. Lori doesn't like this because I'm a nerd. But if I put my hands down here, then my head's just floating. Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So So
this is some of the excitement we have planned for you.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a couple of nights of ghost stories in line for you here coming up, and some other stuff that we're working on. So we're excited about that.
It's great.
But it's been a really weird week. It's been I've been emotional, crying at things that I sit and watch a commercial and go, the cats are looking at me like I'm stupid. I just go, what is going on? Like, what is going on with me? And I think everybody is going through that right now. It's a weird time for everybody.
It's an ongoing process because we've been cooped up basically.
Yeah.
And this leads to a question I was thinking about today, and I thought I would ask you this. Have you recently gone out to try to do something that's normal, that would have been pre-COVID, would have been a normal activity like shopping or going
sure, but it's not normal because you're putting a mask on and you're washing your hands and you're looking for dots on the floor to stand on. So even those activities that are normal for us are not normal.
Yeah.
This has become, it's very robotic now for me before I get out of the car to slap a mask on me.
Yeah.
It's robotic.
Yeah, I was on the road yesterday working again, and it just shocked me to be doing that. And there was, I think the first time I got out of the car, I started for the courthouse and realized I didn't put my mask on. I felt naked getting out of the car without throwing the mask on.
And I found myself, I had a mask on and I was in the store and someone who didn't have a mask on was coming towards me. Yeah. I held my breath. Yeah. I had a mask on. I held my breath while they walked by. I'm such a freak. It's just in my head now,
I'm talking about doing normal activities. 2 days ago, I decided to go for a walk down to one of Naugatuck parks, Linden Park. It's a beautiful park. It's right along the river, very relaxing, not too taxing to go walk around. And again, I'm trying to do something that's normal, trying to do something that feels like this never happened. And every time somebody would come by, I'm keeping apart. We got 6 feet apart from each other, but this one guy came up to me and he had his mask on, so I reached in my pocket and put my mask on.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for everybody, and I think I know that I am going to continue to have those emotional ups and downs as we go, but it's frustrating.
It's been a long drain.
It has.
It's been a very long drain.
And the governor just extended the emergency orders for the state until February 19th, which affects us.
Yeah.
But we have to determine how it affects us.
Right.
Does that mean I now can't go into rehearsals or what's going to happen? So it really, we keep going, oh, we're going to plan to have a holiday show. Oh, we're gonna plan to open in March. And now it's like, ooh, we're probably not going to open till fall. So we have to figure all of that out. And along with that, we have to figure out the finances of that. How do we stay alive all that time without a ticket sale? So that's why we're working on these projects, like the virtual project that we're working on in October. It will be, you'll buy a ticket to get the virtual to be able to see this. And we're kind of excited about that. I think our producer is writing a question down for us.
Oh, great. That's good. Oh, we have an extra guest here that just walked past.
So Tim, what are we doing this week?
Tonight we are discussing what makes the perfect show. Our guest is Chris Evans. He's a good friend of ours. He's been on the stage many times. I'm sure you'll go over that. Also, King Louis is going to make an appearance with us tonight, and he has something to talk about, I'm sure. And of course, with Chris, we'll be playing jargon gymnastics
or jargon gymnastics if you're gassy, like our producer.
Or what?
Or the correct way.
The correct way. That's we have a couple of birthdays we should mention.
Oh, we do, don't we?
Yesterday, both of these were yesterday. Amanda Bunting, who's been on the show.
Shut up and fish.
Shut up and fish. Yeah. And our good friend Bob DeVito.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bob. So that's all I could find.
That's all that we could find so far.
So what makes a perfect show? First, we'll start with, what is it you look for in a show when you're reading a script before you say, this will be a good show for the stage? You're always looking for the perfect show.
I am. Okay, so listen, this is multifaceted.
Okay.
This is because it depends.
Yes.
Are you asking me, when I read scripts, I look for the perfect show for Phoenix Stage Company, or I'm looking for, in general, the perfect show?
Well, we know that when you're looking for a perfect show for Phoenix Stage Company, you are considering the space involved.
Right. There's a matrix to it, right? So for Phoenix, there's a matrix. How many people are in the show?
Right.
Are there people in our core, in case we don't get a lot of people that audition? Are there people in the core community that we know that we can bring in if we have to?
Right.
So we look at that. What is the demographic of the play itself? Technical requirements of the show, set requirements of the show. We look at all of that. But I want to say this: we look at shows that are going to challenge us a little bit.
Okay.
We look for shows that are going to push us a little bit to build a different set, that build something we've never built before, to maybe hit a subject that we haven't. That was scary. That wasn't even the dog. That was Michael.
No, we'll blame Michael for that one.
So maybe that was the ghost.
Ooh. That's a preview for next month, folks.
Yeah. So we look at all of that stuff. We also look at audience appeal.
Right.
Because we want to balance between what we know our current audience likes to come and see, and what will attract new audience members into the space.
In the 10 years that Phoenix has been in existence, what would you say has come close to the perfect show?
Oh my gosh, Tim.
Because I have some in mind.
That is so tough, because I think it really depends on, again, all of those things. Because if you're asking me about perfect casting, one that comes to mind right away is Dead Ringer. For perfect casting. I think it was really good, and it was a creative set, and it was creative technically, and I think it was just masterfully performed and masterfully directed.
I would put that one in the category of coming close to
I would do that. I would say that. I would say, casting wise, the Octet Bridge Club.
Okay.
Those women, they were related. You believe that they were sisters with the way that they folded into each other. I think that's certainly there.
And I think the two shows that we were
so hard.
The two shows that we were going into before COVID happened, I think we were going to have the same thing. I think with the Cayuga Canal Girls, you had that kind of perfect cast.
Sure.
And also, Agnes talked about it last week, the Enchanted April.
Enchanted April ticked a whole bunch of boxes for us because we had so many new people, new actors in the cast.
So you really, what would have been great to see?
It would have been great to see these new people and to see their followers come and sit in our audience and see what their experience was here and learn from that as well. So that was really right up there too, as far as it was it was running in line for that.
I'll throw another one for you that I thought was perfectly cast too. Was gotta go way back. Glass Menagerie.
Glass Menagerie was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think 3 people saw it, but it was it was it was a brilliantly directed show.
Yes.
Kathy Cook directed it, and she cast it perfectly.
Yeah.
It was Chris Evans' first show with us.
Yeah.
And I was very proud of that set.
Yes.
It was my first set.
Right. From Mr. I don't build sets.
And that's when we started Phoenix Stage Company.
Yep.
I said to Sharon and Agnes, I don't do lights and I don't build sets.
And guess what he does now?
But I have to, when Al's not here, Al always says, you've learned a lot. And I go, I plug it in, I plug it in, I turn it on. I plug it in, I turn it on. Yeah. So I'm learning, but I was really proud of that set as well.
So,
but there had been so many others.
And I got to mention
that were right in the right ways.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Fireflies ticked all the boxes. The Fireflies had a great set, an incredible cast, a good story, which is also really important to make a close to a perfect show, and the chemistry between you and everybody else, which
is a key again, I think, for everyone.
Yeah.
Because here's the other side of the perfect show. The perfect show for the theater, and then the perfect show or a perfect show from an actor's standpoint.
Right.
Because we've all had those nights where we stand on stage and stare at each other and hope that somebody remembers what my line is and can help me out of that. And so if you have the trust, for example, Helen Adams on stage with you is a dream, a dream.
I can attest.
Because you feel so comfortable knowing she's got your back.
Yeah.
So through Fireflies, I was very comfortable knowing that we could get through stuff. And there was one night when the ice cream wasn't in the freezer. And that was such an important part of the show.
Right.
Because she leaves.
Yep.
I say, don't forget the ice cream. And she goes to get it. I could hear her rustling around. And I knew something was wrong.
She was taking too long.
I knew something was wrong. So in my head, I'm thinking, what can I do?
Yeah.
And she came to the table and said, your ice cream melted, Abel. You'll have to do without it. Well, later on, I talk about the ice cream.
Yeah.
So instead, I talked about the wine. And then she picked up on that, and later she mentioned the wine again, and so the ice cream. So knowing that you have someone on stage like that.
Yep.
So from an actor's standpoint, I agree that I think that Fireflies was what I would consider one of my perfect shows.
And I would think the audiences agreed too. The audiences that saw Fireflies were every night. The raves coming out of the audience were incredible.
And yet on the other end of that, Pink Panther got some of the same raves.
Yeah.
Pink Panther, Sherwood, drinking habits too. That, so it really is that's a whole nother perspective from an audience perspective.
Right.
Because we've all been in those shows where we go, oh my God, is it over yet? Right. Where we've been in those shows, but the audience is loving the show.
Everything else.
And so, I guess it's subjective. And from whose point of view are you asking that question? What makes a perfect show? I mean,
but when you're picking out a
cliffhanger.
Yes.
Well, for me, honestly, when I'm picking out a show,
you're concerned with all the stuff that you mentioned about.
If I start reading a script and I cannot put it down,
yes,
and I'm reading it and I'm absorbed into that story.
The story is a thing.
Ding. Yeah. That's a big thing for me. Ding.
Now, when you're reading a story like that, are you thinking, will our audiences get this? Will they enjoy it? Will they?
Well, first I read the script through it.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to look at the cast requirements. And then and then I'm going to start reading. If I can't get through the first 5 pages, I put it away.
Yeah.
I'm not even interested in reading it anymore.
You want to capture the audience.
It'll go into a pile for somebody else to do.
Right.
So we do know our audiences, but again, we want to push them a little bit too. Look at Cops.
Yes.
Cops was way outside of our wheelhouse.
Yes.
And we were really nervous about it. Really nervous. But man, it just did so well. And people loved it. And they loved that set. They loved that cast. And they loved the show.
for anyone who doesn't remember or didn't get to see Cops, we actually had a working diner here on the stage.
Agnes was cooking in the back. She had a cast on her hand, so she had an assistant because she didn't have a cast when she was starting.
And a couple patrons on the floor.
We cast some extras to come in and eat before the show. And Aric has a story where we had an audience member that didn't know the show was starting, and she left her seat and came onto stage to talk to him while he was eating his. And hey, baby, he's like, the show started.
Because there was no announcement.
No, there were no pre-show. There was nothing.
It just started.
It just started.
And,
it was really great. It was really great. But so that was way outside of our wheelhouse, and I think we not only pushed ourselves, we pushed the audience as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes part of the experience of theater. Sometimes you want to go see a show just to
have a good time,
like Drinking Habits too.
Pink Panther. You don't want to have to think. You don't want to have to just entertain me.
And yet, my sister talks about Pink Panther all the time,
really,
because she was volunteering one night, and this gentleman came in and said to her, "I had to." It was his first time here. I had to come and see how they were going to do this. I don't know how they're going to do this show on stage. How are they going to do Pink Panther on stage? Yeah. And at intermission, he went up to her and said, "This is brilliant."
Yeah.
And so he loved it. And so I think there's all of that wrapped into it.
Right. So the perfect show comes from the script, first of all, the story, the cast.
Right.
Production team.
Right. Production team, putting it together, finding the right director for the right show, as you know.
Yes.
Finding, pairing up all of those things together, and then putting the right director with the right stage manager, with the right costume, with the right everything.
Yeah.
And what's right for us might not be right for another theater, or might not be the perfect script for another theater, right?
Sure.
So it's all kind of, it's all, again, subjective to where you are and what space you're in.
And aside of the obvious answer being a sellout every night, what makes you feel like we've done the best you can do for a production?
Hi, Ruthie. Okay, so of course a sellout is fabulous.
We love sellouts.
Yeah, we love sellouts. I think a show that will bring the audience back, a show that will bring the actors back, an experience, so not a show, but an experience that will bring all of these people back again for more.
Right.
I especially love it when we see people come back more than once to the same show.
Oh, okay.
Because they want to experience it differently, because it is different every night, as you know. It's different. It's different from an audience. If your energy is different, your energy here is different, right?
And I also going to say that it is very encouraging when you see somebody come in that we don't recognize, a patron come in, and they'll say, I came to see such and such a show, and it was so good. I was so surprised. I want to see something else from you guys. Right. And that happens a lot with seasoned subscribers, right? They see something and they're like, if this is what you can do, I want to see more.
Right. And that's kind of how you do that. And that's one of the things that's really painful about COVID for us.
Sure.
Because we had been here 5 years. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. So we were here in the space November 1st, or actually we've been here 5 years and a few months, because February was when we moved in. So we were here 5 years, and it took us a while to reach that curve. And we really saw an uptick in our subscribers for the 2020 season.
Yeah.
And we have 8 shows. So we offer an 8-show subscription or a 4. We saw a lot of people go from being 4-show subscribers to 8. And so we saw that, and it was so exciting. And then this happened, and it knocked us off at the knees, And so it's so frustrating, because we know we have so much more to do.
Yeah.
And we want to keep doing it. We want to keep doing it, and it's just, we're going to do everything we can to make
the audiences want you to keep doing.
Absolutely,
be here. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, it's when, and when are we going to get the magic phone call? When is our bat phone going to ring?
Yeah.
And I would like to. We have a bunch of people that watch, and they type in little comments and stuff. I'd like to ask you, the people that are watching and stuff, tell us what makes your perfect show. From your point of view, whether you're an actor, a director, a stage manager, or an audience member, an usher, or whatever, what makes your perfect show? If you can tell Michael, I'm going to have him kind of pass it off to us so we can share with people.
That'd be interesting.
I think I'd like to know what makes the perfect show for people.
Let's get out of Phoenix for a second.
Yeah.
Let's look at overall. What do you consider to be a perfect show professionally on Broadway? You've seen a lot of shows on Broadway.
Hamilton.
Yeah, I would. Hamilton surprised me.
Hamilton did surprise me, and I think the reason I say that is because it pushed the boundaries.
Yep.
It made people go outside of their box and outside of their normal, thing to watch this thing. And so I think that's and it is magic from beginning to end.
Right.
It's choreography. It's not blocking.
Yep.
So I think that's right up there. The mystery of Edwin Drood. It's such a great show. It's seldom done.
Yep.
It requires audience participation, so the audience is part of it all the time.
Uh-huh.
It can be a beautiful show. Right. It can be a beautiful show.
That's a musical, right?
It is a musical.
I've never seen it.
It's written by the guy that wrote "Do You Like Pina Coladas?"
Oh, Rupert Holmes.
Correct. And he was always really upset that people knew him for that song and not for The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
And Edwin Drood is Charles Dickens, right?
It is, and he died before he finished the story.
Yeah.
So that is why the play has, I don't know, 600 different endings.
Right.
The audience votes on who the killer is and how they did it and all of that. And so that's the ending that the cast has to perform.
So you got kind of two different versions of A Perfect Show. One that is just presented for you,
right,
like Hamilton.
Right.
One that the audience really gets involved in,
right,
in the story of Edwin Drood.
Right. But again, I think it's subjective because some people would say Sondheim is perfect. Some people would say Into the Woods is perfect because they love performing in it. They love being a part of that really difficult music. And they like the challenge. Some people would say Sweeney Todd is like, I think it's really subjective.
Right.
I love Lost in Yonkers. I think it's a wonderful script.
Yeah.
There's just so many.
It is really.
Streetcar Named Desire is like, oh, I want to do it so badly, but that's way pushing our.
But this is how I feel about Larry Shue's The Foreigner.
Yeah.
Which you've done here.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, I knew absolutely nothing about it, and I was drawn in immediately.
Right.
I love a good story. I love a good comedic story. From start to finish, you understand what's about right away, the conceit of the whole, joke, and they carry it through all the way to the end. And to me, it's hilariously funny. There's a lot of really good lines, good laugh lines. Right. And to me, that's what makes a perfect show.
So really, what we're really asking is not what makes the perfect show. What makes the perfect show for you from your standpoint? What makes a perfectly funny show? What makes a perfectly poignant show? So there's so many there. I don't know that there's an answer to a perfect show.
Right.
I think there's a perfect experience for me and a perfect experience for other people.
Well, I would agree with that because like the first time I ever went to Broadway, to me that was a perfect show. It was Victor Victoria with Julie Andrews, and just seeing Julie Andrews on stage. And Lori and I had never been to Broadway. We'd never seen. This is when big sets were really starting to just roll onto the stage, and it was magic to me. Yeah, it was absolute magic how they just went from a pub in Paris to this apartment. Yeah, just like that.
And then so you take that, and then we go into what is the perfectly written show? What is the most brilliantly written show? A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder.
Very
really, really good show. Yeah. The Play That Goes Wrong. I mean, that is such a brilliantly written show, right?
Never stopped laughing.
But technically, I was watching it going, oh my God, I just know it. People are going to see this and go, you should do this show. Oh my God, how are we going to make the second floor fall and not kill anyone?
My God.
Yeah, so all of, you look at all of that, right?
Here's the thing about that show. I want to just mention this briefly because I have, we saw that together. You have a lot more years behind you than I do as far as theater goes. But we know it's theater. We know that what they're doing may be considered special effects, but we know like that second floor is not going to fall.
Right.
And still when it happens, we're screaming.
Right.
We're laughing. We're just hysterical because
and when the
they make you buy it.
When the walls start falling, most people are looking at the actors, and I was looking at the rigging.
Oh, okay.
How did they do that? Magnets, electromagnets. And how did the water come through the wall? And how do they do this? And there's not really an elevator. Those must be stairs back there. And so I was looking at the rigging, and I think a lot of theater people do that.
Oh, sure.
I think a lot of people do
but
that.
It's like, I was talking to Aric about this, something, you buy into something like that. and that makes a difference, I think, if you're willing to let your mind play the tricks with you. Just leave it down. You know it's going to crash again. So you have some examples there from people?
Yeah. So Chrissy Flynn.
Oh, hi,
Chrissy
Chrissy.
Flynn says chemistry on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. That makes
The first
for her.
drinking habits.
Yes.
We had Colleen and Chrissy and
Donna.
And, and the chemistry among them were hysterical.
Yeah.
Everybody just got along so well, and it really showed.
And at JMarie532, when the time flies and you cannot take your eyes off the stage. And that's so from an audience standpoint, that's true. Is it intermission? Wait, what happened?
Yeah. I think the first time I saw the two actors that do all those roles on stage, Mystery of Irma Vep. That show flew by, and it was intermission. My mouth was still on the ground.
So for me, that happened with Cliffhanger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even directing it and going through all the rehearsals, when I would watch it, it would just fly by for me.
Yeah.
I go, wait, already? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, here we are already.
Yeah. And Amber, our friend Amber Dumpy,
yeah.
A show that brings any emotion, whether happy, sad, angry, anything.
A show that touches you.
And also the casting.
Yeah.
So again, we're saying chemistry and casting
yeah.
and bringing people together is so important.
No, I totally buy into that. We saw Come From Away on Broadway.
Yeah.
It just touched.
Oh my goodness!
Just ripped the heart out.
Yeah,
of
Amber actually took me to see that.
Yeah,
it was a gift, a Christmas gift, I think, and we went to see it, and yeah, it was
totally touched. Wow. You know, and I love when movies do that. It doesn't happen nearly as often as theater does it, but again, it's a perfect show or a perfect story that locks you in as a audience member, locks you in and draws you into whatever's happening on stage.
And so Michael is writing feverishly, but I'm going to ask another question to our viewers.
Okay.
Give me the title of what you think your perfect show was.
Oh, I'd like to know that.
Or is, from whatever standpoint.
Doesn't have to be from here.
Anything? Nope, not from here. Anything you've seen or experienced or been a part of. Chanel, do you have anything? You're in the audience.
The perfect show going to see was Phantom. First time I saw it,
a lot of people feel
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I remember my dad got me the box across the room. I've seen it 4 times on Broadway now, but when the music hits and that chandelier swings down the building, every time my heart still races and it gets pumped.
Yeah.
Lori Phillips, anything?
Your Thomas Opera House production of
Scarlet Pimpernel, the Scarlet Pimpernel at the Thomas Opera House.
With a guillotine on stage.
Yes, the guillotine. That was a beautiful production. Yeah. Yeah, we had I was having a lot of difficulty with how to build a boat on stage.
Yes.
And Sharon and I were driving into we're talking through it, and she said, use your stairs. And I was like, and I went in and talked to Paul, who was building the set, and said, can we do this? And so the stairs flipped around and hinged, and they made the bow of the boat. And our friend Kenny Rogers was the goose lady standing at the prow of the boat. So yeah,
that was an incredible production of a very unknown show.
Really. It was. And Al Hathaway's in the house. Al, any perfect experiences for you?
Not really. Nothing that comes to mind.
Nothing
happened yet.
It hasn't happened. Okay, so we have a goal for Al. It hasn't happened yet.
I mean, you know me, I like everything.
Yeah, Al.
So it's going to have a lot of light.
I do have to say, listen, Al is the kindest critic ever. I have never heard him say anything bad about a show. He may say something like A for effort, and that's all he'll say. He will never say anything bad. He will never say, oh, that set was horrible, the lighting was bad, the sound was bad. It's just his, and I applaud you for that, Al. He's the kindest critic ever.
If Al was on the Titanic, he would say, well, they had nice food.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, and I like to swim. Yeah. The cold water is brisk for you.
Yeah, really. It's good exercise.
Really good. And we've got, I'm sorry, we're keeping you a little bit behind for getting Chris on, but Michael is still writing feverishly because people must be having fun with this one tonight. So we'll just we'll keep that.
Chris is very patient with us today
well, I think he had a back to school orientation tonight too, I think. So Deb Goodman.
Oh, Deb.
she loves working with great people that can make any show great. The greatest people I've ever worked with were at Phoenix.
There you go. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
We love Deb.
So Amber, her two like favorite things at Phoenix Stage Company, Sweeney Todd.
Of course.
And that, you know, I like that one because it was a challenge for us. That pushed us. We had to, you know, figure out how to do that show.
Big
tiny
musical
little,
in a small space.
Yeah, and we had some fun stuff to do with that. And Karen, I'm gonna think it's Karen Lilly at Karen. Cover of Life.
Oh yes.
What?
Yeah.
Cover of Life was amazing. Now there was one night, I'm gonna tell this story.
Okay.
I was working in the booth, and I was working in the booth with Aric. And there was a point where I got distracted because there was some conversation happening, and I got distracted. And I'm a bad person for this, but so I was distracted. And Aric said, "Farm," and I said, "Well, yeah, I guess it's a farm. They're sitting there snapping beans, so they live on a farm. They just pick some beans. Farm. I guess they grow beans. It's a farm." And it was quite on stage. He was like, "Farm." He was saying phone because I missed the cue and they were waiting for a phone to ring. And I could have sworn he was saying farm. So I'm sitting there arguing with him. Why are you telling me they live on a farm? And poor, you know, there's Tress is on stage getting up and sitting down. "Oh, I'll get up, get the phone." "No, I won't." The minute she hit the seat, the phone rang. "Oh, it is the phone." You know, I felt so bad for that, but that's, yes, Cover of Life, amazing show.
Amazing
show.
show.
So well directed, so well cast.
Yep.
That was a killer show. It was so good.
Great lights.
And great lights.
It did have great lights. It had great everything. The costumes were beautiful. It was a really beautifully done show.
I think Al's point is valid. I don't think there is a perfect show.
Again, it's subjective.
It's very subjective.
From what point of view are you looking at that?
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
So I absolutely do that. So I think it's time for us to bring Chris on.
I hope he's there.
He
is there. Okay.
He's still here. So I need to talk about him.
Let's talk about Chris.
Let's talk about Chris. So he was most recently seen virtually in our Voices for Phoenix monologue collection. He was seen literally on stage in Dead Ringer. Other Phoenix Stage Company credits include The Glass Menagerie, Beyond Therapy, The Icebox, Writer's Cramp, Dial In for Murder, Murder at the Prop Table, Murder to Death, Funny Mirrors, Crimes to Heart, Secondary Cause of Death, Lady Parts, Rebel Yells, Cliffhanger, One Flew to Cuckoo's Nest, and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yes. Chris, are you there with us?
There he is. Evans, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys.
There you go.
Nice.
How are you?
Welcome, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
That is that's quite a list of Phoenix Stage Company credits.
He likes murder.
Yeah. Cast him in a whole lot of stuff. And I was looking at that actually and asking myself, I wonder how many of these we begged him to be in. You know, like how many shows did I know that The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, he had to pop in last minute because we had an injured actor.
Yeah, that one jumps up, and I don't know if Icebox was one too, if someone dropped out of Icebox.
No, I think no one dropped out of it, but we asked you to do that.
Oh, okay.
So we owe you. And yeah.
I like the Icebox. I thought that was fun.
Well, the Icebox was strange and it was weird, but you were brilliant in that show. You were so evil.
Yeah.
So evil. So Chris, how has you had a meeting tonight for going back to school?
Yeah, I have I'm like dressed Zoom professional right now, so I've got like a button-down shirt, but sports shorts on underneath. So yeah, it was okay.
From your wife, yeah, I saw your.
Oh, you saw the picture, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I wish you well in that, and I hope it goes well. Are you doing a hybrid of virtual and in person?
Yeah, we're doing a hybrid. So there are some kids who can elect to be totally distanced. They can learn from home. And then there are kids who are going to come certain days a week, and then they'll stay home other days throughout the week. So it's a lot of moving parts. So for a lot of
how long was it before your school system decided this? Was it up to the last minute, or was it?
No. So we had a hybrid model designed in June. The start date got toggled with a little bit, but the hybrid model was decided on in June.
Yeah. So you had time to prepare, basically.
Yes, although, preparing now that we're actually back in the building, preparing mentally and then actually trying to learn the skills to do it are, two different things.
Well, fortunately, we know that you have the computer skills because we've seen some of the stuff you do online. And,
Oh,
yeah. And also the stuff that your wife does online too.
Yeah. Yeah, I like your eyebrows, Chris.
Yes.
Those are $200 eyebrows. If I've ever seen them.
Oh, you've seen the video. Oh, good.
I have to ask this because we have shared that video amongst us.
Good.
By your wife, Jamie.
Yeah.
And the first thought that went into my mind after watching that video is, this is a woman I'm never going to cross.
He was so good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. No, she totally punked you.
Have you gotten her back yet?
Yeah, that was the question I was leading to.
No, I haven't thought of anything. It can't be too soon. I got to wait a little bit so she's not expecting it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn our mic up. Okay.
Excuse me, I have to do a little.
Oh, we're doing a little fading in and out here.
We are.
Oh, okay.
While they're fixing it, Chris, a very important audience member, Vivian, says, "Hi, Daddy, I love you." So
I don't know who that.
Wow, you have a stalker.
Vivian.
I think they're watching from upstairs.
That's
okay.
excellent. That's excellent.
How old is Vivian now?
She's 5. She's starting kindergarten. In,
Oh my
week.
God.
They're all growing up.
So she started about the time we moved over here. Then I guess that's
Yeah,
when.
yeah.
It's like it's that way with our whole Phoenix family. They're all starting to grow up. Next thing they'll be taking over for us.
Well, yeah, because it won't. Yeah, they'll all be taking over for us.
Chris, you heard some of what we were talking about a perfect show. What's your idea of a perfect show
or a perfect experience in a show?
I think it's a bunch of different things. I think it's maybe the best way it can be described is if the way the audience feels when it's over is pretty similar to what the actor and the director's intentions were. Oh,
yep, we're still here.
Okay.
That's Michael playing with things.
Yeah, occasionally he'll just put you on so people don't have to look at us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's perfect show is one where you feel like the actor's intentions match up with how the audience felt when they were there. Yeah. That's always a great feeling when you were really intending something and then you talk to the audience afterwards and they felt exactly what you were going for.
Right.
Sure.
That's tough. I mean, you go out after a show. We all go out after the show to see our peeps, and talk. And sometimes you get the people that were just, oh, it was a great show. Nice job.
Yeah.
Nice job. Do you have a core of people that were like brutally honest to you? Is Jamie one of those ones that's brutally honest to you about a show? Like Chris, you kind of sucked up on that one.
James is honest to an extent. I don't think James ever said you suck. But James,
good to know.
When I've done a really good job, James definitely lets me know, like, oh, that was one of the best things I ever saw you in.
Yeah.
But yeah, James honest to the point where she's like, yeah, you were good. It wasn't the best thing I ever saw you in, but you were really good. So she's honest in that sense.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I've never really had a random audience member come up and been like, Jesus, what the hell was that? I've never had that experience.
Well, that's probably because I don't think I've ever seen you do a show that.
Well, I had someone after Fireflies. Now, I've been in so many shows over the years, and I had someone come up to me after Fireflies who'd been here a lot and said, I had no idea you could act.
Oh, man.
And I kind of went like, oh,
thank you.
Like, so that's like, it's like a compliment, but a backhanded one, it's kind of a thing.
Now, Chris, your resume here is obviously very varied. You've done a lot of comedies. You've done some of the most serious roles we've had ever on this stage. You've been the good guy and you've been the bad guy. Do you have a preference?
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, there were shows that I was in where I was the bad guy that I really enjoyed.
I'm going to say Icebox was one of them, right?
Icebox was one. Dial M was another one.
Yeah.
And then there were shows I was in where I was, the good guy. I don't know, where characters are maybe a little bit more, not to use a cliche term like shades of gray. So Dead Ringer was definitely one that I loved being in. A Vow at the Warner was one that I loved being in. And you know, I guess one that I was in where I was like, you know, like a white bread good guy was Rebel Yells. I don't think there was much bad about Samuel Chandler. And that's probably up on my list of as close to a perfect show as you can get.
And that death scene was amazing.
Yeah, that was.
You know, there was nothing about that. You know, those death scenes where they go, you know, it was a brilliant death scene. Like that was, but leading up to it, the story and the feeling of that character.
I'd have to agree. I think Rebel Yells is definitely close to a perfect show that we've ever done on this stage, among all the other ones that I think are perfect shows. But that one,
you know, what's so great about that?
You were exhausted after each performance, right? It was just you got to die early, so you got to recover downstairs.
I remember very vividly sitting downstairs with, you know, the blood-stained pants. Sure. And you would come off stage, Tim. You'd walk down, and 9 out of 10 times you'd walk through the door sobbing.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those shows where everyone, you know, once we were on stage, we all just kind of synced up and we were all there.
Yes. And it was just that every character's part had, again, this is such a brilliantly written show. Every character was drawn out and their stories are all told in a certain way that really made it.
It was great.
Emotional.
I would say if I was to change anything on that script, and I read that script for so long, I think I probably would have melded some of the monologues so it wasn't always here's my story, here's my story, here's my meld them so that you hear a part of his story and then a part of this one, and then you go back to the other guy where those stories relate and cross to each other. I think that's about the only thing I would do to that script to make it any better, is to kind of weave those stories in amongst them each other, and it's not spotlight on him, spotlight on him, spotlight on him. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I would weave those in a little bit more, but I loved all those characters.
I think it made it easier. I think by doing it as a monologue, it made it easier to follow with those characters.
But I think it stunted it a tiny bit.
Okay.
I think it stunted the story a tiny bit because you had to remember what you heard.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, him. Oh, wait.
Right.
I would have liked to have seen more weaving of that, but it was, I mean, a beautiful show.
It was just like a very raw, real show. And I'm drawn to shows like that. I remember I was talking to Dan Willie once, and I can't remember the show or the movie we were talking about, but he was saying when he was watching it, he felt like, oh, I shouldn't be here. I'm spying on something that I shouldn't really be spying on. And I think that's the quality of a really powerful show.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Sounds like Vivi's there.
Yeah, she is. She's just popping in to say hello.
Hi, Viv.
But she's got no shirt on. She has to be on the screen. And I said, no, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think there's something to that in a perfect show, a show where you feel like you're watching somebody's personal life, where you're sucked into it that much, where you're like, no, I'm watching something I shouldn't be watching, in the sense that you're really spying on someone's personal life.
The particular set for that show too, it was so forward. You know, we were right on top of the audience.
Yeah.
Your death scene was down here, stage left, and people were watching you bleed out, basically.
Yeah.
And it was tough. You couldn't fake that emotion that we all had on stage. And I think that's what made the show so real to people, is they could feel our suffering.
Yes.
And it translated forth.
Which could make people uncomfortable and make them not think it was the perfect show.
Oh, that's true.
Like, true. Ooh, a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to ask you about your experience during One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Sure.
That is such a large cast of varied characters.
Yes.
How did you find working in that script, in that, you know, with all of those actors?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is probably one of the best shows that I've ever been a part of. You know, I had a relatively small role in that, but I think, you know, credit goes to first, you know, Lucia for making no one in the cast feel small.
Sure.
Lucia made sure that everyone in the cast felt like, Lucia made us feel like, hang on, my daughter wants to say hello. Oh, there we go.
Hi, babe.
Bye, babe.
She got a shirt on now.
Cameo appearance.
Okay. Lucia made every actor in the show feel like that they were an integral part of the show. Sure. And all the actors were just so awesome to work with. So everyone felt like their contribution to the show, whether they had a big part or a small part, was essential.
Well,
I love that show.
I have to tell you though that you may feel like it was a smaller part, but one of the things that really caught me about that show, for all of the inmates in the asylum or the patients in the asylum, it never looked like you had a small part, because even when you weren't saying anything, you were speaking volumes.
Yes.
The characters that you developed and the way you related to each other, even when the focus was not on you, was perfect, because it never drew the attention away from what was supposed to be the focus, but you were there and it was living. That's really difficult to develop that kind of an existence on stage where you don't draw a lot of attention, but that you are there to support what's happening and the reactions. It's really difficult.
And being in the moment. Staying in the moment when it's not when there's nothing for you to do particularly.
Right. And one of my favorite things of seeing you on stage, Chris, is we can see whatever character you're playing, we can see your wheels turning. Like, you have such a way of communicating non-verbally with the audience. Like,
thank you.
When your character is coming up with something, when you're listening and paying attention and you react with just the look on your face and just the very littlest movement. And I just think that's brilliant.
I do have to say, in Cuckoo's Nest, you were probably the only one that I felt really deserved to be in that.
You were.
Well, then I did my job, I guess.
You did your job. You were totally creepy, and I still want to know what was in that cigar box here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's actually in my office right over here. Viv was playing in it the other day.
Oh, great.
What are all these pipe cleaners and paper cups? I said, don't worry about it.
Now, so Chris, of all of the roles that you've played through the years, is there a role that you would do again and again and again?
That is a really good question. I think, I would do Glass Menagerie again in a heartbeat. I love that part and I love that show. I was the gentleman caller in that. I would, oh geez, man, I think I would do Dead Ringer again, because Dead Ringer is one that I probably could have done Dead Ringer forever. I felt like there was always a different little tweak and fold to put into Dewey's character.
Again, this goes back to the thing. Audiences didn't know if you were a good guy or a bad guy in the movie.
I love parts like that where it just feels like you've got something hidden and like a hidden bomb, and you just can't wait to, like, oh, you guys are cheering for him now, but you just wait 15 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Or are you guys going to be surprised?
Yes.
That's the best. It's the best feeling when you know you're about to surprise the audience in that way.
And is there any dream role for you out there, or a role that you are aspiring to play one day?
Well, I don't do musical theater, but I would love to be the dentist in Little Shop.
Yeah.
Hey, it's only one song. Go ahead.
I know.
But you see, Chris, you are a singer, though. I've seen videos of you singing with your guitar.
I mean, I'm not professionally trained. I don't know if I could rise.
Some of us are professionally trained. You could do it.
Yeah, I would cast you.
Yeah,
I would definitely.
Thank you. That and I would say God of Carnage. Any role of God of Carnage.
Scene chewing theme there in the dentist chair. That whole number. That's a great number. And I can see you in that role.
And any non-musical?
God of Carnage is one that I would love to do.
That's a good one too.
A lot of people talk about that one.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that. Now, let me ask you: are there any shows that you were unable to do at Phoenix that, if you had time, that you'd want to do? Are there any shows you've seen where you weren't able to come out for it, or you just couldn't do it?
I had really liked the script of Female Transport, and I'm bummed that I never got to go out for that.
Yeah, because that for that too.
There's none that I can think of off the top of my head. That one stands out. I'm trying to think back through the 10 years of of
Well,
shows.
every time you think, I start thinking, oh, well, this would be a good role for Chris. And I said, oh, wait, he did that.
Well, I would have loved to have seen you in, for example, Baskerville.
Oh yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Sherwood,
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
multi-character comedy shows.
Yeah.
That we don't normally get to see you do.
Now, I can't remember. It was the first one, and it was in Naugatuck, the first Cause of Murder, whatever that one that we were.
Murdered to Death.
Thank you. They're all.
Tolkien's.
And you got to play the constable in that one.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Getting shot.
yeah.
And one night he walked off stage and the gun went off and he went, "Oh, come on!" And I said, "Keep it."
I had been in the Phoenix for maybe a year and a half. Like when I look back retrospectively, I was like, geez, that was a ballsy move to add in a line that wasn't originally in the script after the final line of the show and shout it from backstage.
Yep.
But I guess in hindsight, it worked out okay. But when I think about that now, I was like, ooh.
Well, that's because.
If you do it anywhere, Phoenix is the place to do that because it's such a welcoming family. If it didn't work, we'd have said that doesn't work. But
Plus, you had a director who was willing to take that kind of stuff.
Sure,
as opposed to a script Nazi. I didn't want to use the word. Am I in trouble then?
No.
Okay.
No.
We should probably put Chris on hold.
Yes.
And come back to him.
Okay.
For our game, Jargon Gymnastics.
That's right. So, Chris, we're going to put you on hold. So we're going to have you mute yourself and turn off your video for a minute. We're going to bring King Louis on, and then we'll bring you back.
Okay. So we have our special guest is back.
Our special guest is back. It's King Louis.
Hello, Louis.
Hello,
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty.
Yes,
Hello. Hello, gentlemen.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm absolutely wonderful. Really quick, I just wanted to mention, Tim, I was watching the show last week, and the gentleman you had fill your spot, it was so handsome.
Oh, thanks.
Looking at.
and talented and.
Hysterical.
Yes. I'm surprised that my seat is even here anymore, to tell you the truth. I really thought I was going to be replaced.
and so, Your Majesty, you have something prepared to share with us this week?
I do indeed. No one can deny that times are tough on all of us right now. Many of us can barely afford to sustain our lives of excessive indulgence. But now is the time to step up. It is time to take the reins of your financial freedom out of the claws of your twice exiled mother. So I've got 5 easy ways to boost your finances.
Oh, wonderful.
Tip number 1, increase the taxes on those who serve under your lordship. It's so easy to forget in the havoc of our day-to-day struggles, but that is your land. Those people certainly never forget that they are graced with the opportunity to work and live for you on your land. Listen, they will graciously and with understanding pay anything you ask. And honestly, bless you. Tip number 2, arrange a lucrative merger with another prominent and powerful family and offer up your best daughter. Life is all about being able to sell yourself, or in this instance, your children. Your beautiful baby girl is a commodity and it's time to get her appraised. Can she cook? Can she read? Does she have all her teeth? Every bell and whistle she's got is one less goose or goat you need for the dowry. Tip number 3, live near the coast? Rights of salvage are your new best friend. It's simple. Sabotage a vessel or a trade vessel in your territory, wait for them to send up an SOS, and then swoop in to save them and share in their spoils. They're welcome. Tip number 4, it's a little played out, but if you're really strapping for ducats, war! There's always a fortune to be plundered from the well-off and unsuspecting. But if you think the money is in the material goods, you're wrong. Ransom! People will pay mint to get back their family heirlooms. Imagine the family members. Gravy for days. Tip number 5, skip that morning latte. You youths will pay astronomical sums for your frothy bean juice. If you need a morning pick-me-up, try all natural energizers, such as the fear of failure and the dread from the shame that would bury you for ruining your family name. Remember, life is a sandwich. Sometimes it's meaty and cheesy. Other times it can be a quagmire of peanut butter and jelly. But either way you flip it, the bread comes first.
Well, Your Majesty.
Wow. Yes, I know that I was ransomed several times, but my brothers still were disappointed that I came back every time.
There you go. Yeah. And I do like my bread first on a sandwich.
Well, that's true. Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your amazing advice with us, Your Majesty.
Anytime.
And before we let you go, I have one question for you. What do you call a monster in a gay bar?
A monster in a gay bar? I don't know, what?
A flamethrower.
Oh, a bouncer in a gay bar.
Bouncer.
Flamethrower.
Monster.
Bouncer. It's the person who throws them out. It's a flamethrower.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.
And this is why we don't ad lib anymore.
They didn't get it. They didn't get
We'll talk after the show.
Yeah. I did it on purpose. I wanted him to tell the joke.
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't work.
It didn't work at all.
That is not the perfect show.
Yes, and we take pride in the fact that we're not the perfect show. We've only been at this a couple of months. We're coming close, though.
We are.
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was much closer last week when I wasn't here.
It is time for us to bring Chris back.
Yes, it is time.
Chris, are you
Chris,
there?
are you there? There he is.
It's time to play
Jargon Gymnastics. Stretch your mind.
and stretch your tongue. So this is normally done with languages, Chris.
Yes.
Okay.
But we know that you are a fan of Hallmark movies.
Sure am.
Tim has come up
So
with
much
something. So Tim has come up with something special. Oh yes, you have a podcast.
So much. You have a
yeah?
podcast. Tell us about
Yes.
the podcast real quick.
Yes, the Hallmark channel. Yeah, with Laura Cortez from the theater. So yeah, we've hosted it for oh geez, when did we start? Right before the pandemic hit, actually.
Okay.
And yeah, we've got a website and our podcast is up on iTunes. And basically what we do is we take a look at Hallmark movies and we watch them and we kind of make fun of them and we rate them on our own very scientifically designed rubric. And we decide just how Hallmarky they actually are.
Oh, and it's called the Hallmark channel.
Yeah.
The Hallmark. Well, because of that, Chris.
Yep.
We decided that instead of giving you foreign languages, we're going to give you 3 sets of titles of potential Hallmark movies. And you have to decide which one of them is actually a Hallmark movie.
And each set is from a specific year
Yes.
of Hallmark movies.
If you get 2 out of 3 correct, you will win a prize
You
for
will.
yourself and for Chanel.
Chanel
Yeah.
will win a prize.
So for her,
Fantastic.
her grandmother or something. I don't know. Or for the person down at Brooklyn Bakery down there. Bring them their own special prize. All right, so Chris, this first set of titles is from 2007. One of these is an actual Hallmark movie. Is it 1, love is a 4-letter word? 2, love is a 3-letter word and it rhymes with text? Or 3, Hallmark is an 8-letter word?
Oh, and so one of them is real?
One of them's real.
Oh, it's got to be love is a 4-letter word.
That is correct.
Yeah, because
Love is a 4-letter word from 2007.
the word that rhymes with text does not exist in the Hallmark universe.
Now, see, I figured he would know about this stuff. Okay, here's your next group are from 2001.
Okay.
Is it number 1, the borough that hated Christmas? Is it number 2, a town without Christmas? Or number 3, the township that preferred Hanukkah, but they're not that picky.
Okay, I know that Jewish people do not exist in the Hallmark universe, so the third one's out. I'm gonna go with number 2.
That is correct. A town without Christmas. Oh, but not like we're really trying. Okay, never mind. Okay, so here's you already won the game. We're going to see if we can get a clean sweep here. And this group is from 2004. Is it number 1, Desperately Seeking Santa? Number 2, I Saw Danica McKellar Kissing Santa Claus. And you probably know that Danica McKellar has the record for appearing in the most Hallmark movies, 8. Or is it number 3, Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus?
Can I hear number 1 again?
Desperately Seeking Santa, I Saw Danica McKellar Kissing Santa Claus, or Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus?
Geez, 1 or 3 could definitely be correct and definitely would be in Hallmark's wheelhouse, but I'm going to go with number 1.
Are you sure?
Santa Seeking, see, Hallmark doesn't waste their time with big, long titles, so I'm going to go with the first one.
Okay, well, we're going to let you slide on that because it was actually number 3.
Number 3.
No! Was it really?
Single Santa.
Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus from 2004. Desperately Seeking Susan, or Desperately Santa, was a bad ripoff on my part. Sorry about that. Yeah. But you got 2 out of 3.
You got 2 out of 3, so you won the prize.
Congratulations.
You win. You and Chanel both win a custom Take Flight with Phoenix Stage Company COVID-19 mask and a Theater Strong Phoenix Stage Company bracelet.
All right.
Congratulations.
Awesome job. And you got any more podcasts coming up in the near future?
We will be. We're not recording right now, but we will be soon.
Excellent.
Looking forward to it.
Chris, thank you so much for being on with us tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. It was nice.
We appreciate it. We miss you. We can't wait to see you here. We'll be in touch about our October project that's coming up. It'd be nice to have you be a part of that.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So we'll be in touch with you about that. Please give your best to the family for us.
Yes, Jamie, and tell her keep up the good work.
And stay safe, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks.
Chris Evans,
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
I finally stumped somebody. It was
I know. And I didn't even do the push up on my glasses because Lori Poulin hates that.
That's true.
She said, "Don't give me the answers." I said, "I don't." She goes, "Really?" Yeah. So
your poker face.
That's okay. You finally stumped somebody there.
Yeah.
And I thought that the pin kind of bog damin from last week was going to get somebody.
Yeah, they're still repeating it.
They are. Yeah, it's going to be a song and a dance.
Wouldn't that be funny if it actually went on to become like a major thing? We should do a video of it.
Okay, just a videotape of people pronouncing it.
Yes.
To music.
Yes.
Like a
Macarena
rap
kind of thing.
Yeah. Like a Filipino rap.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and we could.
I think Subway sells
created. So we could have. Well, yeah, it's called like a
Filipino rap.
No, it's called lumpia actually.
Lumpia.
Yeah, it's like a taquito, but it's Filipino.
Okay.
It's
fabulous. There's a little bit of education in each and every podcast.
There is. It's everyone. Do you know what my favorite term in Tagalog or Filipino is?
What's that?
Mahal kita.
Mahal kita.
Mahal kita.
What's that mean?
It means I love you.
Aww.
Isn't that nice?
Isn't that special?
That is so special. Tim, you have some good news for us this week.
I do. I've been looking around and, we were talking a little bit earlier about trying to find something normal to do, something that would make you feel like this past year hasn't been this past year. And I went to the Connecticut website, the Connecticut State website, ctvisit.com.
Yeah.
And I found that there are several outdoor walks that you can go to that would just be really interesting to me. For instance, there's several buildings in New London that have murals on the sides of the buildings, and they put together a map, a self-guided walking tour of a 6-block area that you can actually see all these different murals. Hartford has a sculpture walk put out by Lincoln Financial that has outdoor sculptures that are about Abraham Lincoln's life. Old Lyme has one of stroll through gardens and courtyards admiring over 100 large-scale contemporary sculptures. And you can get an online self-guided map. New Canaan has a sculpture trail. Downtown Stanford has one. And Simsbury, the Chamber of Commerce Art Trail, they put together a display of 37 life-size bronze sculptures created by artist Seward Johnson in a walkable and a bikeable art trail. So there's a chance to go out.
Our friend Melanie Hilpert, woo, she was here a little while, a few weeks ago, as a studio audience member. She just did that with her family with the bronze sculpture. She said it was fabulous. So where do they find that information again, Tim?
You can go to ctvisit.com. It's a Connecticut tourism website, and you can find out about this. It's just something to do. I mean, we're getting to like the most perfect weather. Storm's not related, but we're coming to the most perfect weather time of the year. I always thought.
Yeah, I was out getting mail yesterday, and I looked up, and there's a maple tree in our yard, and the top of it is orange.
It's late this year, I think, isn't it? Late because
it's a little like
usually when we come home from vacation, we start seeing the.
No, it's right, and the pumpkin beers are out.
Then you know.
That's my good news.
Pumpkin
beers are out,
and. You tried a new one the other day, and it was very good.
I did. Sam Adams put a beer out that's called Jacko Pumpkin.
Yeah.
And
it was very good.
Actually, really very, very good. It's limited edition, so now it's really hard to find because once people found it, they started buying it up, and it's limited edition, so the stores can't get it anymore.
And you said this when you brought it over, and I tried it. You said we're having a cold because that's what you do, but you said wait till it starts getting closer to room temperature, the taste changes.
It warms up and it becomes like a little rounder, right? It's really good. So if you can't find a 6-pack of it, you can get their 12-pack that's called Sweater Weather.
Oh, okay.
And that has their Oktoberfest and their lager and 3 bottles of the pumpkin.
I wonder if our good friends at Black Hawk are going to do a pumpkin beer.
I would encourage
it.
Maybe we should ask them.
We should ask them. That would be great.
I mean, because we love them anyway.
And they do very good beer.
And speaking of that, I think it's time for us to ask what's next first, Tim.
Yes.
Do you know?
Yes. Give me a mind. The mind is.
You know what? Buffering. And I'm gonna buy part of this because I didn't put that piece of paper on his little triangle there.
I'm gonna buffer it and
buffering.
I believe.
What is
next week? Is it Lucia? It might be Lucia.
The 10th.
I think so. I think it's Lucia.
Lucia Dressel, our very good friend Lucia Dressel is going to be here.
And if not, I'll make up something else.
No, it's Lucia Dressel, and we're going to talk about directing and
classical shows, much like we talked about with Chris.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So now we need to talk about our sponsors at Black Hog and all of these people. So Take Flight Live is sponsored by Black Hog Brewing Company. Where are they located, Tim?
Oxford, Connecticut.
Out by the airport. They have their grotto open, so you can go there and sit outside under these beautiful red umbrellas in a very well-appointed, well-landscaped little area there.
Beautiful.
And there's a food truck that comes at 3 o'clock while they're open, so you can do that. And also Sierra Ridge Media Arts and our friend Deb Crine in Naugatuck, Connecticut.
Yay, Deb.
Thank you so much, Deb, for all that you do for Phoenix Stage Company. Say hello to Jeff for us and the boys.
And his new truck.
Yeah, and his new truck. Jeff got a new truck, so congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And as always, you can support your community theater by donating at phoenix-stage-company.square.site. I'm sure that Michael's put that link up there somewhere because he's very efficient like that.
Because he's Michael.
Because he's Michael. You can just click on that and you can donate to Phoenix Stage Company and help us through this difficult time. Yep. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you to our studio audience for being here. We look forward to seeing all of you next week on the 10th, 7 o'clock. Until then, goodbye. Say goodnight, Tim.
Good night, Tim.